Hola. You can hear me?
I think, yeah, I think so.
Okay, okay. Because I'm not sure.
I think we are hearing you. Okay.
Okay,
Yes.
okay. So I'll share also presentation.
Okay.
You can see it, right?
Okay, perfectly.
Okay, can I start? Yes, I think you muted yourself. Hello everyone. My name is Hande AYANOGLU, and I'll just talk about my background first. So I was graduated from industrial design, and I have a master's in interior architecture. I have a PhD in design, and I did a postdoc also in design. So now I'm just a second because I think so what I do is I do research, and I also lecture at IADE in undergraduate and graduate degree. I've been teaching interaction design since 2014 when we first introduced interaction design in at IADE. So today I'm going to talk about this digital transformation and its somehow effect on like design education. I will talk about smart products, but I'm going to tell you actually there are many different terms instead of we use smart product. For instance, we use connected products. When you look at like literature, when you look at like on internet, you can also hear like intelligent products or smart devices, connected devices, autonomous products. So there are many different ways to name smart products. And so then you can see that there's no consensus on what a smart product is. When we say intelligent product, when we say digital product, we somehow sometimes we think about only applications, but actually there are also real like physical, tangible products when we name also digital products. So there's a recent research from 2020, and they try to actually organize this term. So what is a smart product? What do we call smart products? And this they have this different sections. So we can name a smart product as digital, connected, responsive, and intelligent. So we can actually name digital product, connected product, responsive product, and intelligent product. So what's a digital product? What they say is it's like equipped with IT. It can like store data, process data, analyze data, provision and transmit data. I well, I will just I want to somehow like detail this a bit more because like we can try to understand what we mean by interaction design if we understand what a digital product is. So when we talk about like IT equipped, it can be equipped with sensors or embedded operation systems. When we talk about data storage, so it can store the data in a cloud or itself or store information, or the product can have a memory. When we talk about data processing for digital products, it has to like analyze data or use the data for something so that the product becomes digital. Another one is data provision and transmission. So it can identify and use this information for the product or access to a different data or to different systems. And there's also what they name, what they divide the product as connected. So these connected products, they have a unique identification. So human can read this identification, or this like the product can identify themselves from different products. Or there's also a networking and connectivity. So the products are not really working alone, but they are connected to different products. So here we are somehow talking about Internet of Things as well. Because like connectivity can mean Internet of Things or not. So the products, they don't have to really share the same network, but still they can be connected. Another one is for connected products. They say that like they have to be like they have to have a communication between themselves, or they have to have an interface so that they can communicate, or product again like they can communicate inside themselves, like between themselves. Sorry. Another one, like they have to have the interaction, so they have to have ability to cooperate, or they have to like operate and interact with other devices. There's also this responsive products, so they can sense. They also have like real-time context awareness. They have reactivity and adaptability, automated actuation, functionality, and customization. I will also detail these. So when we talk, so like these are like this responsive products. I think I'm sorry, but I just keep expanding. So they have to have these sensors, real-time context awareness. So they have to like be aware where they are and use the information from the environment. Then they can operate. They have to adapt, or they have to alter its location and condition. So these products are really what we call connected, because they're connected products. There's also like interaction and cooperation. So they have these actuations to make the product connected. And this product should be also have like multi-functions, so we can also personalize this product. There's also these intelligent products. They have reasoning and decision making, autonomy, and productivity. When we talk about like reasoning and decision making, we can see that the product can make their own decision and operate. And they are also like autonomous. They can fully work by themselves. They don't need any like triggers from outside, but they trigger themselves with the actions. And proactivity. So they have these behaviors as being proactive. So what happens in design education? So we have the smart products. We talk about smart products, intelligent products. They have this. We have to have this interaction between users and these smart products. What we have in our curriculum, we have product design and we have interaction design. So what happens is in product design area, we focus on the physical products. We talk about always like the tangible product. We touch it, we have to sense it, we have to produce it. And in interaction design, we mostly focus on the interfaces. I'll give some examples, and I think there are some I feel like there are some problems regarding this, because what I feel like we should, I think, like join these two areas or get advantage of each other. We have similar phases during this processes. So we define a problem, we define a concept, and then we just dedicate, select a concept and develop the product, evaluate it, and we have a final product. So it can be an interface, it can be a physical product, but the phases are quite similar. And then like they try to understand four important key points. So they have to focus on the users. We mostly work around user-centered design, human-centered design. So we are really focused on the users. And we have to understand also the context, because the product, either it's like connected or smart product or its own interface, we have to understand the context. Where do we use it? Since it changes, if the context is changing, the situations are also changing. For instance, for an interface, maybe the interface should have different colors in different environments. Because, for instance, for outside, we cannot see the colors properly, for instance, or we have like more light, and that's why the context is very important for both curricular units. Also the artifact. So what is the product? What's the system we are talking about? And the interactions, how the interactions will they be digital, will they be analog, or will they be mixed? We have to understand these four important points. And also for like both disciplines, we are thinking about the future. We are thinking about innovation. We are thinking about technologies so that we can make a difference. because there are already many applications, there are already many products that already exist. So how can we make a difference? We can think of future, we can think of like innovative process, or we can think of different technology. So what happens is in the beginning of interaction design, for instance, I try to introduce different, like I try to open their minds. I think most of us, we try to open their minds, students' minds, to understand it. And I talk about from future, I talk about like science fiction, because when there were like the science fiction movies before, we thought that, okay, it's impossible to have this type of technology, but now this technology already exists. So that's what I try to show the students. For instance, Space Odyssey, I will just give some examples from 1968, and they had this glass cockpit displays. They had iPad, they had personal TVs, they have liquid computers. And we were thinking back then that, okay, it's science fiction, or it can never happen. However, all of this already like happens or happening. Another one is from Star Wars trilogy. They have like this limb prosthetics or moisture apparatus. So these things that already exist, and that's why I try to tell students, okay, they can just think out of the box. They don't have to think about the products that already exist around them, but they can just introduce something that we call science fiction, so that we can create this smart product, we can create this smart environment. So I give like, for instance, like conversation with a car, like this TV show specifically, I was amazed by a car talking, and I think it's not really something different now. We already have this information like nowadays. Like other things, like I give like these examples to them. Also, there are like, for instance, also like this personal assistants, more gesture controlled interfaces. What happens is students are thinking, okay, these don't exist, but these things are already existing. Maybe they are not very well controlled, I would say, because gesture control interface, they have like different problems. However, it exists, people are doing it, and it's like other examples. And then what's happening? So they always like, oh, okay, so we can think out of the box. We can create like these products, smart like interfaces with different interactions. So they just really be like so happy about the course and such. Then what happened? So we started doing the concept development. They have this concept and such. And at the end, they have very like solutions that are still the solutions are not like they don't join the solutions with technology. So what I expect them, okay, from product design, okay, we have the physical product. What are the interactions? How can we interact with this product if this product is a smart product? They create this idea. However, they are lack of interaction design parts, like more interface parts from product design students. So they have this smart product, but without the part of like interface design, interaction, more technology parts. These are some examples from them. Because these are like these examples, they all are smart product results. However, like I'm saying, we can only see the physical part of the solution. We don't see the interaction part of the with the smart products. And then we have the interaction design classes, and most of them, like most of the students, they start, oh wow, okay, I'm going to create like this, like out of the box ideas and this and that. And at the end, what they have, what we've got from them, mostly like applications for phones. But interaction design doesn't mean only applications. And that's why we are trying to just show the students that, okay, interaction design is more than applications, but what they see is applications around them. And we also have some limitations that I will talk about. So like these are some examples. But as you can see, these are all dedicated to phones. Then, I'm sorry. Then we try to include the idea of a smart environment, so that we were thinking that we can see some connectivity, Internet of Things, some different products. And what happens then? They still they try to create show the product. The product exists, but as you can see, it's more like sketchy. And at the end, we see mostly, again, like more, they say the operator like this thing, the environment will do this, the environment will do that, there will be connected products, there will be this product collecting information, showing the information, this and that. And at the end, we just see again phone applications. So these are, however, I think this happens because there are so many limitations. For instance, from product design students, we expect a prototype or a model, and that somehow limits the students. They just say, okay, I have like this concept idea, this concept idea, and then when we say, okay, you have to do a prototype, then okay, I cannot prototype this idea, and then they just go back to the concept part and grab the one that they can make a prototype. For the interaction design students, they cannot focus on the product itself because they don't have time for it, but they focus on the interface design. And at the end, they cannot really show the interfaces which are on different products that they think. They just show the part of the, like a part of the system, which is the phone or which is a tablet. So we have these limitations, and that's why I think this happens. So, but still, we keep on just giving them this like smart environment so that they can see the connectivity, they can see the products and interfaces, like this interaction design, interactions. They must be taught like together. We cannot really think the product and interaction design apart from each other. But interaction design doesn't mean that we design applications for mobile phone or applications for tablets. I know that mostly now it's being done. However, I think the future would bring different things. So what we can do is, so this is an example of smart product design, and it was taught well according to me. So there's a product, there's a tangible product that we can see, and we can see interfaces on the product. So these are like these kind of results we are expecting from the students. However, we cannot get them yet because, like I said, we have limitations. When I was studying industrial design, there were no such things as like technology. We couldn't really include too much technology in our products because we didn't get that information from our professors, I would say. But now the students, they have interaction design, so they can have that information from interaction design, and they can really use it in their product design classes. So what we do is we try to just suggest this different ways to introduce technology, interaction design, product design to like one area, and we try to like create some synergies so the students can see that okay, they cannot maybe create. It's not they cannot, but they cannot. It's a fact. They cannot create a smart product only by themselves. No, design students cannot do it. That's why we are trying to take advantage of technology students. We have this projects, for instance. We try to create a product, like physical product and digital product, digital part of the product. But one student cannot do it, so that's why we are trying to ask different students, like which one they are more focused on digital part, which one are more focused on physical part. We just join them and just we create a product like this. And I think it's quite hard because like this digital transformation is happening, and we always talk about interaction design, but what they see is applications. They don't really see the other products besides smartphones, because there are other products, there are other smart products, and they should just see. What else do we do? We also we try to give like different briefings. We try to also, for instance, like in master level, we try to supervise students from different areas, like from design and from technology, from design and from different parts, so that we can create these synergies to like solve the limitations, I would say. Because when we like have this concept ideas, maybe we don't really know if they are doable. We don't only, for instance, we don't only want to design the interfaces, but we want to design also the product itself. So that's why we, I think, should really just work on it. Maybe we need like extra, not extra, but new curricular units to join these two things. Or maybe we really need to have one class but involve different students from different areas so that we can really just get help of this digital transformation and include it in the education. And that's uh, that's what I've got. Okay, Bruno?
Okay, now
Sorry.
you can hear me.
Yeah.
Just saying thank you for the presentation. I think it's always interesting to open a little bit the classroom and see what is the methods, what kind of works, what kind of difficulties and obstacles we gather here in the day-to-day basis and daily basis when with the students. So it's very good to see that that approach and how things are evolving. And what kind of outputs are we getting from students?
For instance, also, I mean, we have the software limitations because the softwares, most of the softwares, they have like specific interfaces like phone, tablet, web. That's why also students at the end, they have to show a tablet screen to us as an interface. I think that's also another, so software companies, I think they should also create like different layout, I would say, so that they can implement that information on the different products in the environment.
Yeah, sure, yeah, definitely. One question, I'm not sure, does anyone has any question to ask about ask to HANDE? Well, I have a question. I think it's more, well, I think has a teacher teaching interaction design. What I asked some similar question before, but in a different context. But if you have to point out a stage in the process that you find out to be more difficult to explore with students, do you have any idea, or do you have a one that you can immediately point out to be a specific stage in the project development that you find that students are a little bit more difficult or more resistant to approach?
Well, like I said, I think in the beginning, the research part is always hard for them because they already have some ideas on their minds and they think that, okay, they immediately think about the solution instead of thinking about the problem. And I think we always go back, okay, what's the problem? What's the problem? What's the problem? It's like, what's your problem? You know, and I think that part is quite hard. And I always mention it, okay, I know that the first part is always hard, but when you find the problems, then we can focus on the solutions. And that's, I think, the struggling part. And again, always they have a solution, okay, a smartphone application. That's
always a smartphone application.
Yeah.
The solution is always a smartphone application.
Because that's their reality, I think. Yeah. But interaction design doesn't mean only that. And I really hope that we can just break this image of interaction design.
Okay, and I'm going to explain why I did this question, because on the first panel with Tiago Franco, I asked a similar question about the development teams. So the answer was exactly the same. So the question was what if you were able to put out the most important stage in the development process, what would you point out? And he said the research. Okay, so because if you have some functionality that it's not well solved ahead, it's not that difficult, but you have some kind of research that is not well made in the beginning, it will be a lot of time consuming and a lot of money as well to be spent around surpassing that difficulty or that problem that was not well defined in the beginning. So it's kind of similar also, the problems that we encountered and the problems that the industry have at this moment in this specific part, I think they are all the same. So maybe as a reflection, it is very important to consider the first stages as the most important ones to begin with in the interaction design.
Yeah, but I think, for instance, like for in the market, I believe that they don't really design the product itself. They really design, they don't design tangible products like smart products, but they focus on mostly maybe the web, no, maybe really like the application. So that's the reality also. Maybe we are pushing too much to get different solutions from the students. But I think they should know that maybe they would eventually work on this area, designing the product itself, like the tangible product itself.
Yeah. Most of companies or most of it's more focused on web or application or web phone applications or smart applications. Nevertheless, there are a few that are not in those specifically. After at 8 o'clock, we have a key industry session with iDreams Global, and their products are tangible, or most of them are tangible. They design the interface as well, but they think the project as a whole, not just for the screen, that has the experience in the whole, okay, in an holistic approach to the project itself, and they materialize the product by itself. Well, since the beginnings of iDreams here in Portugal, and then from iDreams Global in Brazil. But yeah, most of the products are on the screen and web-based, most of all. Even though we have a lot of buzz around smartphone applications, they live on a specific ecosystem that it's not very open to changes, and therefore the web it's still the most common environment to develop to developers.
And also, like there are products exist, and still we have application for that smart product. We don't really go and interact with that product, but we interact with the application of that
The
product.
standalone, for instance, a standalone, something like that. Yeah. I think there's a question here from Elder. Elder is asking, smart products are associated to artificial intelligence or not? And if not, are they only automated?
Well, it depends. For instance, like you can also include like artificial intelligence or machine learning. The technology it's endless now, and that's why as designers we don't have that much knowledge because we don't have that information in our curriculum. So I think we should really include it, or we can just create this workshops. We are doing it actually, like workshops or master classes to include that information. Because as designers, we don't have that information. I mean, we are assuming sensors. But what kind of sensors? Sometimes we just say, okay, the students are saying, okay, this product will have sensors. Yes, sensors to collect data. Yes, but what kind of sensors? I also don't know it. That's why we need this synergy. We need this information coming from different areas so that we can create a product like iDreams, you're saying, Bruno. I mean, they have a tangible product and they have interfaces. So those are the projects that we need to really focus on because they have team for that. But we don't have that team because we have just one design student, and what I'm saying is, okay, like future scenarios. That's why we create this future scenario. So in the future, maybe not in the future, because we are not sure if the smart products are only associated with artificial intelligence or machine learning or actuators. So there are like so many different ways to make a product smart, and that's why it's not only smart but connected, it's intelligent. Because each of them has different roles, different ways to connect. The product can be smart and it doesn't have to be connected to other products, but it has to be connected maybe to your mobile so that you can change, like you can interact with that product. So it's yes or no also. I don't know if I said it kind of.
Muted. So yeah, I think yeah, it's related but different topics. Yes, just talking about the role of the designer in those aspects. I think, as you were saying, you don't need to have the understanding of the sensor, but you need to understand the potentiality of a specific sensor in
No,
an
there are technologies. There are like Zigbee, like there are like many different technologies. They exist, but we don't know how to include them in the product. I think we should have that information because in the reality, we work with a team. We don't work alone, so we should really create that reality in our classes, in the curriculum.
Yeah, definitely. And I think it's important to have that understanding. I think it's very important for the designers and students, for designers that for the students that are studying design. I think it's very important to understand those environments and the potentiality. If they don't know, they should be able to research on that, and that maybe also our duty as teachers to promote that environment, to make them search for those environments. Yeah, because in the end, maybe not all of them will use them, but at least they are awake and they have been, in a way, talk about that specific areas where sensors can make a solution.
Also, yeah, I mean, also it's not, we should only make our students to be aware of it, but also like students from design, because they design maybe the technology, but where are they going to implement it? We have the ideas. I mean, that's what I'm always like struggling, because I think we designers, we have like all the ideas in the world, but we need people to implement those ideas. Sometimes they say, because now I'm working some professors from technology and like it's design students, and these design students, they have very good scenarios, they have very good like concepts, and then these professors from technology, they just say, okay, we can just maybe implement this technology, and we were like, okay, so we can do it. And I mean, when I see this happening, I feel very happy about it, because we can help, we can really help with our ideas to make things better, create better things, make innovation. I hope really like in the market also this be possible, because maybe we don't have the skills yet, but we can just look for it, like you said. I mean, we can just look for it and try to understand. Sometimes what happens is
try to foster the knowledge to specific approach to a specific area. So sensors is just one small fraction of needed for a good interaction designer, and you're just talking about some technological issue. Maybe the sensor it's not needed, but for that the student should have been aware of all the things that the project may or may not encounter. And that it's only through knowledge, through research, and again, as making these again at the first presentation from Tiago, it's okay. So it's the most important part of the project is the research. If the research, the knowledge in the beginning, it's not that good, and all the project it's a little bit
fail. No, it would fail really. So I mean, we don't have to know it, but we can learn about it. So I'm not really blaming anyone that they don't know it, but we can find out. It's not hard. So I mean, the solution is always sensors, but it's not the only technology that exists. So that's what is bothering. I mean, it's not only sensors.
And sometimes the solution can or maybe be something simpler, and doesn't have the sensor to the approach of a sensor to make the behavior that interaction design tries to foster. Okay, maybe. But again, I'm not sure if there are any question that you want to put out to HANDE. Only a few remain. Okay. Okay, HANDE, I will not take much more of your time. Thank you very much for the presentation. Thank you very much for the sharing of the practices, of the good practices that you are putting out with the students, with interaction design students. And thank you for your time. It was very okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Aos sobreviventes e aos